Today we are going to create this amazing halftone shake effect inside the free version of DaVinci Resolve. I will also be sharing project files in a community post, but it will be available for the channel members only. So if you are interested, you can get it just in 29 rupees. Alright, let's get started. Open the edit page of DaVinci Resolve and add your clips. Now simply go to top left section and here you will see this effects icon. Click on it, then simply expand this toolbox and go to effects tab, and from here we are going to add the adjustment clip. Click and drag it to the timeline and place it in the beginning of your composition. Okay, now simply move your playback thread to the end of your first clip, then select this adjustment clip, press Ctrl+B to make a cut. Now select this right side, press backspace to delete it. Now place the playback head on top of it, then open the Fusion page. Alright, so once you are in Fusion, you'll have something like this. Now creating this shake is actually quite straightforward. We just have to add a bunch of nodes, and the first node we are going to add is directional blur. So simply click on this media in one node to select it, then press Ctrl+Space and search for directional blur. We are going to use this first one, so press enter to add it. Now simply move to inspector window, and here we are going to adjust a couple of things, and the first thing we are going to adjust is this type. So click on this and from here choose this centered option. Now we are going to adjust the length, so double click on this length box and change the value to somewhere around 0.5. Click here once to apply the changes. Okay, now I want the blur to appear from the top, so what I'm going to do is simply double click on this angle box and change the value to 90. Just click here once again to apply the changes and we'll have something like this. Okay, now let's animate it. So go to frame 0, then go to the inspector and add a keyframe for the length. Now move to middle of your composition, which is frame 30 for me, and at this point simply double click on this length box and change the value back to 0. Now let's click here once again to apply the changes. Alright, now what we are going to do is simply open this spline tab, and from here we'll select this length box, then go to this right side and click on this zoom to fit icon. Okay, now let's select this keyframes. Simply click here and drag to select it, then press S on your keyboard. Alright, now just follow me. Simply click on this top handle and drag it somewhere around here. Okay, and also take this bottom handle and move it around this place. Alright, now let's close this spline tab, then simply go to frame 0, double click here and play it. So we'll have something like this. Alright, now let's continue. Now we are going to add the shake. So for that, simply click on this directional blur, press Ctrl+Space once again and search for camera shake. We are going to use this default one, so press enter to add it. Now simply go to inspector and here we are going to adjust a couple of things. So first thing first, go to this edges section, click here and select this mirror edges option. Okay, now what we are going to do is simply go to this frequency method, click to expand it and choose this square wave option. To select it, then move to this top section and here you will see this X deviation. So what we are going to do is simply double click on this box and change the value to 0.5. Now double click on this Y deviation box and change the value to 1. Let me click here once to apply the changes and we'll have something like this. Now if you want, you can also adjust this Y deviation and randomness. It will make the effect even more better, but I am going to keep it as it is. Okay, now let's animate it. So simply go to frame 0, then go to inspector and we're going to add keyframe for overall state. So simply add a keyframe to it, then move to middle of your composition, which is frame 30 for me, and at this point simply double click on this overall state box and change the value to 0. Then we click here once to apply the changes and we'll have something like this. Okay, now let's open this spline tab. First thing first, deselect this directional blur box, so double click here to deselect it, then move to this right side and click on this zoom to fit icon, select the keyframes, then press S on your keyboard. Okay, now we just have to repeat the same curve, so I'll simply click on this top section and drag it somewhere around here. Now take this bottom handle and move it somewhere around here. Alright, now let's close this spline tab, then go to frame 0, double click here and play it. So we'll have something like this, which is actually looking pretty cool. Alright, now let's move on. So click on this camera shake node, press Ctrl+Space and add another camera shake. Go to inspector, double click on this overall strength box and this time we are going to change the value to 0.15. Okay, let me click here once to apply the changes. Now what you're going to do is double click on the speed box and change the value to 0.05. Alright, let's click here once again to apply the changes and we'll have something like this. Now we just need to adjust the edges as well, so click here and change the edges to mirror. Alright, now what you're going to do is add a little bit of flicker to it. Simply click on this camera shape 2 node, press Ctrl+S and search for flicker addition. So press enter to add it, press enter to add it, then go to inspector and first thing first, go to this trigger type, click here and change it to gain. Okay, now what you're going to do is double click on this range box and change it to 0.1. Then double click on this speed box and change it to 0.4. And the last thing we're going to do is go to this random scale, double click here and change the value to 0.75. Let's click here once again to apply the changes. Now if you go to frame 0 and double click here and play, So we'll have something like this, and it's already looking pretty cool. Okay, let's continue. So the next thing we're going to do is create a scale animation. So let me click on this media out node and drag it somewhere around here. And what we're going to do is click on this flicker addition node and add a transform node to it. Now simply go to frame 0, then go to the inspector and add a keyframe for this size. Now go to end of your composition and double click on this size box and change the value to 1.2. Let me click here once to apply the changes, and we'll have something like this. Okay, let's open this spline tab. Let me deselect this camera shake option. Click on this zoom to fit icon to reveal the keyframes. Let's select the keyframes by dragging it. Press S on your keyboard. Now for this one, we are going to create a little bit of different curve. So take this bottom handle and move it somewhere around here. Now take this top handle and move it somewhere around here. Now let's close this spline tab. Then simply go to frame 0, double click here and play it. So we'll have something like this, which is actually looking pretty cool. Alright, so as you can see, I have already adjusted the nodes area because now I'm going to show you how to create the halftone effect. But before that, let's add a little bit blur to our effect. So what we are going to do is simply click on this transform all node, then press Ctrl plus P and look for Gaussian blur. Press enter to add it, then simply go to frame 0. Now move to inspector and add a keyframe for this strength. Now move to middle of your composition, then double click on the strength box and change the value to 0. Click here to apply the changes. Now open the spline tab, click on this zoom to fit icon, select the keyframes, press S on your keyboard, take this top handle and drag it somewhere around here. Now take the bottom handle and move it somewhere around here. Now let's close this spline tab. Now we are going to create the halftone effect, and for that we are going to use the background node. So with this Gaussian blur node selected, go somewhere around here and you will see this background node. Click to add it. Now let's rearrange the nodes. Simply click on this merge node and move it somewhere around here. Take this background node and move it somewhere around here as well. Now by default the background color is always black, but we need to use the white color. So what you're going to do is simply go to inspector and click on this color option, and from this color tab choose the white color, press enter to apply the changes. Now in order to create the halftone effect, we have to use the mask. You can either use this rectangle mask or this ellipse mask. So I am going to use this ellipse one, so I will simply click on it and will have something like this. Now simply go to inspector and you will see this soft edge option. Click here and drag it all the way up. Now what you're going to do is make 4 copies of this mask. But before that, simply click on this ellipse mask and move it somewhere around here. Then press Ctrl plus C to make a copy and paste it by pressing Ctrl plus T. So I will press it 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now simply click on this first copy, go to inspector, and here you will see this center XY. Double click on this X box and change the value to 0. Also click on this Y box and change the value to 0. Now you will see our first mask has moved to this area. Now we have to repeat the same process for the rest of the mask. So for the second one, we'll click here, go to inspector and double click on this X box, then change the value to 1 and also change the Y value to 1. Click here and it will move somewhere around here. Now click on this third mask, double click on this X box, change the value to 0 and double click on the Y box. This time change the Y value to 1. So click here and it will move this area. Click on this last ellipse mask, go to inspector and double click on this else box, change the X value to 1 and this time change the Y value to 0. Let's click here and it will move somewhere around here. Okay, now what you're going to do is simply select all these mask nodes, press Ctrl plus G to make a group, then we'll click on this background node and move it upwards like this. Now in order to create the halftone dots, we are going to use the transform node. So simply go here and click on this transform node to add it. Now go to the inspector and the first thing we are going to change is the edges. So click here and choose the mirror edges. Now go to the size section and click on the slider and drag it left side and you will see we are getting this white dots. Now you can keep dragging it until you get the desired size, but what I am going to do is simply double click here and change the value to 0.05. Click here to apply the changes and we'll have something like this. And I also want to change the angle as well. So what I'm going to do is simply double click on this angle box and change the value to 110. Now simply click here to apply the changes and we'll have something like this. Now if you notice, our halftone dots are still way bigger, so we have to decrease the size even more. But if you go here and decrease the size, it will become 0 and eventually it will vanish. So instead of doing it from here, what we're going to do is simply click on this merge one node, then go to inspector, scroll down and you'll see this edges section. Click here and change the edges to mirror. Now scroll up and decrease the size on here. So I will simply double click here and change the size to 0.2. Let me click here and we'll have something like this. Now if you notice, it has become way too smaller. Still it's not looking like halftone. Currently we just have bunch of dots on our screen. So in order to apply it as halftone dots, what we're going to do is simply change this apply mode. So I'll simply click here and look for the option color dots. So click on it and you'll see something has changed. Now if you go to frame 0 you'll see it's looking something like this. Now what you're going to do is simply go to inspector and you'll see this blend option. Simply double click on this box and change the value to 0.4. Click here and you will see it has become way too darker, and now it's looking much better than before. Now if you want, you can use this colorful dots, but what I'm going to do is simply decrease the saturation of our main clip. So for that, simply select all these nodes and move them somewhere around here. Now click on this Gaussian blur node and go to this left side. You will see this CC node. Click to add it, then go to inspector, scroll down and you will see this saturation. Just click on the saturation slider and drag it all the way to 0 and it will become something like this. Now what we're going to do is simply scroll down even more and you'll see this option gamma. Now you to click on the slider and drag it to the left, you will see it will become even more darker. Now you can keep dragging it as you will like it, but what I'm going to do is simply keep it somewhere around 0.85. Now what we're going to do is simply add a keyframe for this saturation and also for this gamma. Then move to middle of your composition, double click on the saturation box and change the value to 1. Then double click on this gamma box and change the value to 1. Let's click here and we'll have something like this. Now let's animate the halftone dots as well. So click on this merge one node and add a keyframe for the blend. Decrease the value to 0. Then go to trim 0 and at this point double click on this blend box and change the value to 0.4. Click here and we'll have something like this. Now simply open the spline tab. First thing first, deselect this Gaussian blur, then deselect this color corrector node as well. Now click on this zoom to fit icon, select the keyframe, press S on your keyboard and copy my curves. Drag it from here around here and take this bottom handle and move it around here. Now deselect this one and select the saturation box. Click on the zoom to fit icon, select the keyframes, press S on your keyboard. Click on this bottom handle and move it like this. Take this top handle and move it around here. Now deselect the saturation box. Click on this one. Click on the zoom to fit icon. Select the keyframes. Press S on your keyboard and repeat the same curve as before. We'll simply click here and drag it around this place. Now close the spline tab and double click here and play it. So we'll have something like this. And that's how you create a smooth halftone shake effect inside the pre version of DaVinci Resolve. Okay, now let me show you how you can apply the same effect on your other clips as well. So for that, simply click on this edit page icon. Then what you're going to do is simply click on this adjustment clip, press Alt and drag it to make a copy. Now release both keys, then left click and drag it until it fits with the second key. Now what you're going to do is take its ending and trim it down until it fits properly with our second clip. Now move the playback head on top of it, then simply open the Fusion. Okay, so if you notice, our second clip is actually shorter than the first one, so we have to adjust the keyframes for this one. And for that, simply move to top right section and you'll see this option called keyframes. Click to open it and click on the zoom to fit icon to view everything. Now simply move to left side and here you will see all of our nodes. Simply click on this mini arrow of the nodes that contains keyframes. So I'm going to click on this directional blur node. Also for this camera effect on. For this transform on node, let's scroll down. We need to click this Gaussian blur as well. Color corrector node as well. And also we have to click on this merge node as well. Now simply go around this place and click here and move it upwards like this. So what you're going to do is simply click here and drag it to select all the keyframes around this area. Then click on this last keyframe and move it to the left side until it reaches the end of your composition. Okay, now let's select these middle keyframes only. And then click on any of the keyframes and drag it until it reaches the middle of your composition. So for me, it will be frame 20. You can see it from here. Okay. Now simply close this keyframes tab, go to edit page and play it. So we'll have something like this. And that's how you create a smooth halftone shake effect inside the pre version of DaVinci Resolve. Now in case you want to change the direction of your shake, you can do it by following a simple method. So let me show it for this third clip. So I will simply open this Fusion page, then click on this directional blur node and go to inspector, and here we just have to change the angle. But before I change it, let me go to frame 0 so that you can see the changes. Then go to inspector and double click on this angle box and let's change the value to 45. Now let me click here to apply the changes and you will see the direction of our blur has changed. Let's preview it one more time. So now we have something like this, and if you notice, our third clip's shake effect look different than the other ones. And that's all for today. So if the tutorial was helpful, then give it a like, subscribe to the channel and make sure to watch my other videos. And also if you want the project files, then grab the membership just in 29 rupees. I'll see you in the next video. So see ya.